There comes a morning when your body stops feeling like yours, when standing up feels heavier than it should, when a single flight of stairs turns into a mountain. She tries to step outside into her garden, the sunlight flickering through the leaves. She pauses halfway, pressing her hand on the door frame for support. Margaret never thought she'd see the day when walking to her garden felt like a marathon. She'd raised 2 kids, built a life, and worked hard for decades. But somehow, after 60, her body felt like it was quietly giving up. Her doctor called it normal aging. But inside, she knew something wasn't right. Her legs weren't weak from age. They were begging for something she'd forgotten to give them. And then one simple change, something she could do right at her kitchen table, began to rebuild everything she thought she'd lost. It wasn't a new workout. It wasn't a pill. It was something far older and far simpler than that. This is the story of how one daily ritual, a humble cup of tea, helped her rebuild her strength, her balance, and her peace, one sip at a time.
Margaret sits at her table, sunlight spilling across the wooden surface. The spoon in her cup clinks softly as she stirs. Her movements are careful, deliberate. In the weeks that followed, Margaret began to notice more changes. Her legs felt heavy by afternoon. Her hands tingled when she reached for the top shelf. Some nights, she woke up to cramps so sharp they pulled her from sleep. Her body wasn't just aging, it was calling for help. And like so many of us, she didn't know how to listen. Across America, millions of men and women over 50 quietly feel the same thing. That slow, invisible drain of energy. That subtle loss of balance that makes every movement feel uncertain. Doctors call it muscle loss or poor circulation. But what it really is a warning. Our bodies whisper long before they shout. They whisper through stiffness in the morning, through swelling ankles at night, through the breath we lose climbing the stairs. But in a world that tells us to push through, we learn to ignore the whispers, until one day they turn into something louder. For years, Margaret tried the usual fixes, more calcium, new vitamins, another bottle of supplements that promised joint relief. Nothing lasted. Nothing truly worked. Because the real problem wasn't the joints or the muscles alone. It was something deeper, something that had quietly changed inside her body long before the symptoms began. Her circulation, her body's natural rhythm, the inner flow that fuels strength, balance, and energy had begun to slow, and with it, her vitality faded, piece by piece. It's a hidden crisis few talk about. After 60, we can lose up to 1/3 of our muscle power, not from age itself, but from reduced blood flow and poor nutrient delivery. The very highways that carry oxygen to our cells begin to close down. Without that steady flow, our legs weaken, our heart works harder. And the body, once so alive, begins to feel like it's running on empty. Margaret didn't know it yet, but her body was asking for something simple, something nature once provided freely, a way to restore that inner flow. And soon, quite by accident, she would stumble upon it.
It started almost by accident. Margaret had agreed to meet Emily, a local wellness coach who specialized in natural ways to restore strength and balance for older adults. She wasn't expecting a life-changing revelation, but that's exactly what she found. Most people think strength after 60 comes from lifting weights, taking pills, or strict routines, Emily said. But the body remembers how to heal itself if we give it the right support. Support? She asked. Like magic? Not magic, just what nature always intended. And that's when Margaret first noticed the 3 T's, simple, daily rituals that would slowly rebuild what she thought was gone forever. The first T was ginger and turmeric. Two ordinary roots, yet when brewed together, they could ignite circulation and calm inflammation, the silent thieves of strength in aging bodies. Ginger contains compounds called gingerols that relax blood vessels, improving blood flow to tired muscles. Turmeric's curcumin blocks inflammatory enzymes, reducing stiffness and joint discomfort. A pinch of black pepper? That simple addition multiplies the effect, helping the body absorb the benefits fully. By the end of the first week, she noticed a subtle difference. Her legs felt lighter when standing. Walking to the mailbox was no longer a struggle, but a gentle reminder of what her body could still do. The second tea, ginseng and green tea. Energy and stamina. The second tea came at mid-morning, ginseng and green tea. Together, they offered what Margaret had been missing most, sustained energy and focus without the crash of coffee or energy drinks. Ginseng, an adaptogen, helps the body adapt to stress and boosts endurance. Green tea provides antioxidants and a gentle lift from L-theanine and caffeine, enough to energize without jitters. The combination not only fueled muscles, but also sharpened her mind, making each step feel purposeful instead of exhausting. She realized that her fatigue wasn't laziness, it was her body asking for better fuel, better oxygen, and a gentle rhythm of energy. The final tea, reserved for evening, was ashwagandha, an ancient adaptogen known for calming the nervous system, reducing stress, and supporting restorative sleep. High cortisol, the stress hormone, accelerates muscle breakdown and fatigue. Ashwagandha lowers cortisol, strengthens neuromuscular connections, and improves sleep quality. It gives the body the environment it needs to rebuild, quietly, overnight. Within 2 weeks, she woke with lighter legs and a steadier step. Her muscles weren't just less sore, they were learning to recover again. Margaret preparing each tea at the right time of day, walking a little further each day. Journal entries noting energy levels, mood, and strength. 3 teas, 3 simple rituals woven into her day. Morning, ginger and turmeric to ignite circulation. Mid-morning, ginseng and green tea for steady energy. Evening, ashwagandha to restore balance and sleep. Day by day, sip by sip, her body remembered what it meant to be strong again. It wasn't instant, and it wasn't a miracle. It was consistent, natural, and within reach. The kind of change that compounds over weeks, not hours. By the end of 30 days, Margaret's legs felt lighter, her balance steadier, and her energy more reliable. She realized something profound. Strength isn't just regained through effort alone. It grows when the body is nurtured, listened to, and supported by the right habits, small, natural, and consistent. And for Margaret, that hidden source of strength had been right in front of her all along, in a cup she could brew every day.
Margaret's progress felt real, but she wanted to understand why. How could 3 simple teas change her legs, her energy, her sleep, without a prescription, without a gym membership? Here's what was happening inside her body. After 60, many adults experience a condition called sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength. Muscles shrink, joints stiffen, and energy dwindles. Poor circulation compounds the problem. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to muscles, the fuel they need to recover and grow. When circulation slows, muscles fatigue faster and repair more slowly. Inflammation adds another layer, quietly damaging tissues and leaving joints stiff and achy. This is where science meets tradition. Ginger and turmeric calm inflammation and improve blood flow. Ginseng supports oxygen use and mitochondrial energy, the powerhouses inside our cells. Ashwagandha restores balance to the nervous system, lowers stress hormones, and helps muscles recover during sleep. Each tea targets multiple systems at once: muscles, nerves, circulation, and hormones, creating a foundation for sustainable strength. And the results are measurable. Studies show that daily use of these compounds can reduce joint pain, improve endurance,
and increase muscle strength in older adults. Margaret's body wasn't just responding to habit, it was rewiring itself. Circulation improved, inflammation eased, and her muscles began to perform more efficiently. Day by day, sip by sip, science proved what her experience had already shown. The body, even after 60, can recover its resilience if given the right tools. The beauty of this approach is its simplicity. No extreme routines, no expensive supplements, just natural compounds integrated into daily life that address the root causes of weakness, fatigue, and imbalance. In short, what Margaret discovered wasn't a shortcut or a miracle. It was a scientifically backed, time-tested way to restore strength, stability, and energy, and it's available to anyone willing to listen to their body.
A month into her new routine, Margaret began to notice something remarkable. The world didn't just look the same, it felt different. Her steps were lighter, her legs stronger, her confidence returning, quietly but steadily. Simple tasks that once felt exhausting, walking to the mailbox, carrying groceries, bending to tend her garden, no longer drained her. Her body was no longer a cage, it had become a partner, responsive and resilient. Margaret brewing ginger turmeric tea at sunrise, inhaling the aroma with a smile. Mid-morning ginseng green tea, then stretching lightly in her kitchen. Evening ashwagandha tea before journaling, followed by a peaceful night's sleep. Laughing with friends at a community gathering, walking with ease and energy. The 3 teas became more than just drinks. They became rituals, gentle anchors in her day that nurtured strength, balance, and calm. Each day she recorded little victories, climbing stairs without wincing, standing from a chair without pausing, waking up refreshed. Over weeks, those victories added up. Her legs were stronger, her balance steadier, her energy consistent, and her spirit lighter. Margaret joins a small group for a morning yoga session. She moves with fluidity and confidence, smiling at fellow participants. But the change wasn't only physical. Mental clarity, emotional resilience, and the simple joy of movement returned. Margaret rediscovered freedom. The freedom to live life on her own terms, without fear of fatigue or imbalance holding her back. Strength isn't just a number on a scale or a weight you lift. It's the confidence to stand tall, the courage to step forward, the calm assurance that your body can carry you through the day. For Margaret, transformation wasn't sudden, it was gradual, sip by sip, day by day. And in that process, she learned a powerful lesson. The body remembers what it means to be strong, if we give it the right support. 3 simple teas woven into daily life rebuilt more than muscles. They restored vitality, balance, and the simple joy of moving freely again. And that's a gift that lasts far beyond a single cup. Margaret walks home, light in her step, a soft smile on her face. The park glows in the golden sunset. Strength after 60 isn't about fighting age. It's about listening to your body, supporting it gently, and embracing simple, consistent habits that renew your energy, your balance, and your confidence. For Margaret, and for anyone willing to start, transformation is possible one small, mindful habit at a time.
Margaret's journey shows us one simple truth. Strength, balance, and energy aren't lost forever. They can be rebuilt, gently, naturally, and consistently, even after 60. 3 teas, 3 simple rituals. Morning, ginger and turmeric to reduce inflammation and boost circulation. Mid-morning, ginseng and green tea for steady energy and endurance. Evening, ashwagandha to calm stress and restore deep, rejuvenating sleep. It isn't about instant miracles. It's about habits that compound over time. Sip by sip,
Day by day, your body begins to remember what it means to move freely, recover efficiently, and feel alive again. And here's the most important part. This journey is accessible to anyone. No expensive supplements, no complicated routines, just natural, science-backed ways to support your muscles, circulation, nerves, and energy. If you felt your energy slipping, your legs growing weaker, or your balance faltering, remember this: your body is still capable of remarkable recovery. It just needs the right support, consistency, and attention. So here's how you can begin today. Start small. Brew 1 cup of tea, whether it's ginger turmeric, ginseng green, or ashwagandha, and make it part of your morning or evening routine. Listen to your body. Notice the subtle changes in strength, energy, and focus. Combine it with light movement, good nutrition, and restful sleep. Over weeks and months, those small actions will transform your life, just as they did for Margaret. Strength after 60 isn't a dream, it's a choice, a daily practice, and it begins with one small, intentional step, 1 cup at a time. Your body remembers strength. Start today, 1 cup, 1 step, 1 habit at a time.